Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Beantown Banter podcast.
Hunter on the move, racing back, it's over his head, it's gone, it's into the bullpen, this game is tied, this game is tied!
Remodel's to the top of the crease, Red Sox score! Bergeron! Driving forward, diving to the goal line! A touchdown! And a title! Anything's possible! Anything's possible!
Recording live from Boston, Massachusetts, here are your hosts, Brady Gardner and Patrick Donnelly. And welcome to episode 30 of the Beantown Banter podcast. As always, joined by Patrick Donnelly, I am Brady Gardner. How are we, Patrick?
We're annoyed.
We're annoyed? Why are we annoyed?
Laundry machines around here.
That's the college life for
you. They just tack on an extra 10 minutes for no reason. It says 37 minutes. Here we are at 47.
Well, the show must go on. So we're here. We have a big day because it's episode 30. 30 podcasts in, Patrick, and we haven't gotten annoyed of each other. How about that?
The big 3-0.
The big 3-0. Well, we've got a lot of news for you folks today. We got the playoffs beginning. We had the Masters. We've got the Red Sox still struggling, and the Patriots getting deeper into their offseason. And, of course, some national news to get to at the end of the show. So stick with us because it's going to be a good one. But we will start with the Boston Bruins, who are 3 games into their first-round series with the Toronto Maple Leafs. And they dropped the first, won the second, dropped the third. But, Patrick, before we start anything, what's your confidence level with your Bees right now?
Not great.
No, me neither.
Not good.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say they'll pull it out and they'll get it together, but they have to win tomorrow.
Yeah?
Tomorrow is must win. And you can say, like, oh, every playoff game's a must win because you got to win the cup. And it's like, oh, I can do my Mike Babcock impression, but...
Oh, boy.
Yeah, we'll get into it later.
Yeah.
How I think Mike Babcock is the most overrated coach on the planet.
Okay.
But it's just like the compete levels there, the execution is not there.
Right.
And I don't know if that comes down to line combinations or guys just getting out of their own way. But something needs to happen here, and it doesn't look good and Tuukka Rask has been there.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the third goal in Game 1, which I don't know how much you can chalk that up to him because it was a breakaway.
Right.
So,
a lot of breakaways in Game 1 there.
3 of the 4 goals they scored were penalty shot, breakaway, and then the other one was, I don't quite remember, should know that, and then the other one was empty netter.
That's right. So that Game 1 loss for the Bees at home, ending up down 4, or giving up 4 unanswered goals after scoring the first. Just like the Bruins were just kind of asleep in that game, kind of sleepwalking it there, which was uncharacteristic of a team that really throughout the regular season played on an edge, and even in games where you would say, like, oh, it's a scheduled loss, they would show up and find a way to grind out a point. So it's kind of surprising to see them come out so slow in that first game, maybe give some credit to the Maple Leafs as they're seeking revenge, of course, for playoffs of the past. But to their credit, the Bruins were able to turn things around in Game 2, and I think that showed you the urgency and really what you need to see in playoff hockey in general. And I think you finally got that from the Bees on Saturday night.
Yeah, and going back to Game 1, I think Brad Marchand hit it right in the head after the game where they came out thinking it was going to be easier than they thought.
Right.
And that's what I was afraid of, especially with this fan base.
Yeah.
How we got to worry about Tampa Bay in the second round. Well, we might not even have to worry about Tampa Bay. We might not even have to worry about the second round.
Yeah.
Because
so Marchand said that they had overlooked it, maybe?
He said after Game 1, we came out thought it was going to be easier than we thought.
Wow.
Which I tried to get through. I didn't really do a good job of last week when we had Matt Castle on.
Okay.
Go listen to it if you haven't. Episode 29.
Mm-hmm.
That a lot of the fan base is just looking past Toronto, which you can't do. Toronto's too good.
Yeah.
Like, sure, we dominated them in the standings, or 7 points. I mean, dominated relatively. But you can't afford to. And as we look to Game 2, they came out, and I was there. Not to brag. I was there.
Out there.
I was there.
Let it be known.
Garden was rocking. Couldn't hear the whistles for the entire game at ice level.
That's pretty cool.
Pulled the old Ticketmaster trick.
Mm-hmm.
But they came out immediately off the top. I said they're playing pissed.
They were.
Yeah.
Yep. Running
you
to
could tell,
people.
like Krejci was decking people.
Yeah.
Jake DeBrusk was obviously had the fire in his tummy.
Yep.
But I mean that's the recipe to beat the Leafs because we can say it like Tampa and the Leafs as well. Like they're sharp and soft.
Mm-hmm.
They have no hard-nosed guys up front really, aside from maybe Trevor Moore, and Kadri's gone.
Yeah, we'll get to that, but yeah.
And on defense, the only hard-nosed guy they have is Jake Muzzin, and Ron Hainsey can act tough all he wants, but Lord knows he's going to be in the retirement home next month or in 2 months, however far they make it, if they get past the Boston Bruins.
Right.
But it's kind of a microcosm of the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
Not game 2, but kind of what we're talking about right now, where the Bergeron line has been a 0, aside from Pasternak's assist on Marchand's goal, which was beautiful. Both the assist and the goal were beautiful.
And Bergeron's first goal in game 1.
Yes.
To open it. Nothing otherwise.
And that was on the power play. They've had no even
5 on
strength
5,
points. Yeah. Or I think that Marchand's goal might have been 5 on 5. I'm not completely sure.
All right.
But they need to be better, and whether it's breaking up that line.
Don't say it.
Would you? It. I mean, they didn't today at practice, so I don't think they will.
Oh, man. I feel like you can't. You've been through so much. You had so many opportunities to break up this line, and you didn't do it.
You saw how good they were when it was Marchand, Bergeron, Heinen,
right,
DeBrusque, Krejci, Pastrnak.
Yeah, but that's such a big change to make in the middle of a playoff series.
You might have to.
Yikes.
I mean, and it goes to this. Like, sure, we had David Backes in there in game 2, and he was great for the physicality.
Loved it.
He helped set the tone.
Yep.
But
what you need from him.
But the Bruins so far in these 2 losses have gotten burned by the Maple Leafs' speed and the Bruins' ineffectiveness on the forecheck.
Right.
Because, excuse me, thought that was going to be off the mic.
Nice.
But the Maple Leafs have so far neutralized the Bruins' game plan of slowing them down because they're just catching the Bruins flat-footed on the forecheck.
Right. Well, it's the new brand of hockey. It's just skating by when other teams are getting slower and they're getting faster.
But Bruce Cassidy's big point was talking about slowing them down, whether it's matching them with the legs or physicality to slow them down.
Which is what we saw in Game 2.
Which is what we saw in Game 2, and they tried the Game 1 formula in Game 3.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just tough because you see the fourth line, and I've been the biggest cheerleader of the fourth line this year when it was Achari, Corrali, Wagner, however the combination went.
Right.
But I think they're playing too much this series.
Huh.
Achari, we know, is not the most fleet of foot. Wagner isn't slow, but he's also not fast by any stretch of the imagination. And David Backes, we've talked about at length, and they simply can't keep up.
Yeah.
And they're playing too much. And meanwhile, David Krejci's line had like 7 minutes total of 5-on-5 ice time last night. And we're talking about how much of a factor your second line needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
How do you get the second line going?
Right.
If they're not on the ice.
Yeah. Well, we know maybe one thing against Bruce Cassidy is that he is a sucker for the fourth line. Anytime, let's say, you score a goal, you get the crowd rocking, put the fourth line out there and, keep the momentum going, start throwing around the opposition, get them on their heels. Or you give up a goal and so, okay, we need to respond well, get the fourth line out there. It seems like, he always reverts back to, let's get that fourth line in. They'll throw themselves around, get the bench going again. And it just seems like against a team with the speed of Toronto, that strategy really works against you.
Well, I understand it where this fourth line is great at bringing the energy.
Yeah.
Especially with Sean Corrali.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have Sean Corrali. This isn't the same fourth line you had all season. So you can't act like it is.
Right.
Whether it's Nordstrom or Backes in place of Corrali, you can't act like it's the same fourth line. Because Corrali is able to bring the speed of that lineup. He brings the intensity up. But whereas Nordstrom, sure, he can match Corrali's speed. Does he have the same intensity? Does he have the same fire?
Yeah.
We can say Backes has the same intensity and the same fire. He can't match the speed by any means.
Right.
And this is a pro and a con. Charlie Coyle has been your best forward.
Exactly. So, you look at the bottom part of the lineup, they've had their struggles. Top part of the lineup, they've had their struggles. Where, the middle might be your strongest part right now with Charlie Coyle bagging 2 goals here. The kid from Weymouth is making some noise.
Mayor
of
Weymouth.
What was that?
Mayor of Weymouth.
Oh,
officially.
that's what he is now?
Officially.
You got the mayor of Walpole and the mayor of Weymouth on the team? What are the chances?
2 goals.
That's right. So, good to see him, making a difference. And he does bring the physicality and, good with the stick. So, I think he's exactly what they need in this series. And we're also seeing from Danton Heinen, of all people. A guy who looked to go into his shell a little bit at times this year. And all of a sudden he's back, and Patrick has something important to say.
He's confident.
Is
That's
he?
all it was. It's confidence.
So he went up on the top line, got some confidence, and now he's good.
Yeah, he's been fine since they brought him to the top
All
line,
right.
and he had that run.
Well, that's awesome.
We talked about during the slump, his confidence is in the negatives.
Right, and we saw it even in Game 3 when they ended up losing. He was trying to skate by guys and having some success with it. So
yeah.
He's confident, which is great to see.
Yeah, the third line's been the best line, and I don't think the third line's been playing enough either. I think the first line and the fourth line have been where if the first line isn't, like last night, And especially game 1, where the first line is just a 0, especially when it comes up against the Tavares line, because they basically cancel each other out.
Right.
You got to be able to deviate from the game plan, shuffle them around.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen that. Get guys like Coyle and Heinen out there more, maybe mix them up. Because we saw in game 2 at times when it worked, Charlie Coyle was on the right with Krejci and DeBrusque for certain shifts. And that line was very good on the forecheck.
Right. And
it's just it's a game of adjustments, and there have been no adjustments made so far.
Well, we mentioned last episode the importance of health in this series, and if there's one little silver lining here, it does seem like the Bruins are getting healthier. We've got John Moore and Marcus Johansson looking to rejoin the team for Game 4, which should be huge.
Yeah, I'd rather hear about Sean Corrali and Kevin Miller first, but
Okay.
I guess John Moore is good because you don't have to have Stevie Snipes in there.
Steven Kampfer, he wasn't terrible last night, but he definitely had a little bit of bright light syndrome.
Yeah, and Connor Clifton, he was solid in Game 1.
Yep.
Nerves, it's fine, play through it. And Game 2, he was fine when he wasn't hurt, but I'd rather Moore's the veteran, rather have him in there.
Right.
Kampfer's a veteran too, but Moore has just more experience over the last few years.
Experience.
Yes. But I'd much rather have Kevin Miller and Sean Corrali updates. Yep. But I guess Marcus Johansson helps with your speed and your skill.
Definitely. Not really your physicality. It did seem like when he went down to that illness Game 2, it was a little bit convenient because that's not really his game to be throwing himself around and get into a physical battle, because that usually seems like he ends up on the wrong end of those. So, when you put in back is in favor of Johansson, who left with the illness, I know it looks like on paper that's not a great swap, but I think for Game 2 that's what you needed. But maybe right now you need Johansson back.
You know who I'd rather have out of the lineup than Nordstrom or Backus?
Who?
Carson Kuhlman.
Whoa. Really?
I haven't noticed him once.
Me neither.
He's been invisible.
Yeah.
And yes, I know he's a playoff rookie.
Yep.
So let's just see you go watch from the 9th floor.
Wow. So then what do you do? Second line.
Johansson on the right.
Okay.
Your third line's Heinen, Coyle, Backus.
Right. Okay, it's a simple change.
And then your fourth is Nordstrom, Achari, Wagner.
Okay.
I think that fourth line works a lot better than trying to shove David Backus in there.
Right. Nordstrom gives a little bit of speed, so that's good.
Nordstrom can bring back the speed. Achari, we already know, like we said, is not fast.
Right.
And Wagner can keep pace.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of helps in that department if you're going to keep trotting out the fourth line.
Yeah.
I think it's the closest thing you can get.
All right. And also, we got to talk about your guy between the pipes, Tuukka Rask, through 3 games.
He's been there.
He
hasn't been the issue.
Yeah. And Mike Milbury said he needs to show up. And so and so far he has. So
I don't take anything Mike Milbury says seriously.
That was the joke, okay?
The best thing he contributed all for his entire career on the NBC broadcast is that he said Toronto was a corporate crowd last night, which he's so right about.
Was it?
Yeah.
Interesting. It seemed like there was some kind of home ice advantage there last night.
Well, aside from off the top and then right after the goals, Toronto's the quietest arena in the NHL.
Really?
It's a library.
Interesting. I've never really noticed
and
that.
And the goal song sucks too.
Well, yeah, they play the weird what's
it's Hall & Oates. I forget the name of the song. Oh, You Make My Dreams Come True.
Weird.
Yeah.
That's sort of weird winning song too.
Yeah. Who does that get pumped up?
Yeah. The corporate crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you got to say Tuukka Rask has been good. As of late, he did take a hit. Once again, Charlie McAvoy knocking someone into him. Come on, Chucky.
Stay classy, Toronto fans. Cheer and taunt when he's down on the ice injured.
Yeah, so he had a similar look on his face to when who was it that ran into him?
Philip Hedl.
During that Rangers game where Rask was playing really good hockey and then was sidelined for a few weeks. Came back strong though. So I don't know how much you can take away from that, but it is a little scary when you see Tuukka Rask get run into and look like he could be having a little bit of some kind of head trauma, shall we say. But he was able to continue playing and played quite well, kept the Bees in that one last night, which they ended up losing 3-2. So, yeah, I think you got to say Tuukka Rask has been there for them. And once again, it just seems like the problem at times is scoring. And this is a pretty bad time to come upon a scoring drought when you're against one of the best offensive teams in the NHL.
I think they're just in their own way.
Yep.
And also this morning, Rask was the first one on the ice. I think he's fine.
Okay.
But they're making it far too complicated between Game 1 and last night.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to be that guy, but shoot the puck.
Yeah.
Freddie
Anderson looks good though.
He does, and he was the guy who needed to show up for the Leafs.
And he has.
I mean, in game one, they're trying to make way too many passes. And then last night, it's kind of the same thing until the third period when they go desperation.
Yep.
And so last night, the third period, is kind of, that rush at the end was too little too late.
Definitely.
Like, you bring the intensity right off the top.
Yep. So I think if you're a Bees fan, you have to be a little bit concerned here because, we've been able to dominate the Leafs in playoff competition as of late, or at least, in recent history, last 5 years or so. But, maybe this is finally their turn. It's a good team. Gives you some worry. But hopefully the Bees can turn it around here. They have that pivotal Game 4 tomorrow. I'll try to get back to the TD Garden with the series tied 2-2. If not, they'll be playing for their lives back on the Garden Ice. So
Can't go down 3-1.
No, that's a big hole to come back from. But we'll see how that plays out. And, potentially in a week we'll be previewing a Game 7, or maybe we'll be talking about the end of the season, or maybe we'll be talking about moving along in the playoffs. We shall see. But there's another playoff playing team at the TD Garden. That was not great, was it? And that's the Boston Celtics. They opened up their playoffs on, Saturday? Or
Yes.
Sunday? No,
Sunday.
Masters Sunday. With an 84-74 win over the Indiana Pacers. And I think that game was pretty clear as to what the series is going to be. A boring one.
You hope so.
Well, you hope it's boring. I mean, boring favors the Celtics, it seems, at times, just with all the drama that has surrounded this team this season. But, it's just slow, and the Pacers don't have a real star. I mean, was it Bogdanovich? Decent player, but, once Oladipo went down, it just wasn't the same team. And it just seems like the Celtics are able to play mediocre basketball and get by this Pacers team.
Yeah, the first half was certainly mediocre. What was it?
From the Celtics, yeah.
Yeah, the first quarter they were 2 for 11 from the field.
Right. Oof.
You can't. I mean, I think they'll be fine if they bring same way they played the second half.
Mm-hmm.
But I said "but" a lot today.
That's okay.
But I don't think you'll be able to afford staying cold like this.
No. Well, definitely. Milwaukee next round.
But even against Indiana.
Oof.
Because
imagine this team getting knocked off by Indiana.
They're kind of like the Celtics of 2 years ago. This ragtag, scrappy team that isn't supposed to do anything.
A ragtag bunch. And they are. You're right.
They kept pace with the Celtics for 4th place.
Yeah.
Came down to the last week of the season for home court.
You could even say it's like the Celtics team last year, where you lost your star, and then you had to rely on some younger guys, and you made some noise late.
You lost all your stars.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, interesting. I'm not too worried about the Pacers. I think we being the Celtics, played not great basketball for, let's say, 30 minutes of 48 last in the game 1, and you still came out with a 10-point win. So it feels like this is just kind of exactly the series that they needed, where you're going to be able to kind of roll a team over and not really have to play your best, but it's going to be interesting when you end up potentially next round against the best team in, arguably, the NBA, and you have to turn it on. And we'll see if they can.
Without Marcus Smart.
That's right. So Marcus Smart, was that this week? I
think that was after the show.
Right, because I don't remember mentioning it with Ethan.
Ethan said Celtics in 5.
Interesting.
Depending on Smart and Tatum being
I still believe that, by the way. Celtics should win in 5.
Okay.
But Marcus Smart, gone for how long?
At least the first 2, or definitely the first round, probably the second round.
Yeah. Not good. That's your engine right there.
That's your heartbeat.
One of your only players who really has that factor, where he can turn a game around, especially a playoff game, as he's proven, and he's unavailable. So once again, you're relying on these guys who have not really been there for you consistently this season. It's a scary thought for Celtics fans.
For sure.
Yep. But like we say, Pacers really not at their best right now just because of the injuries that they have dealt with. So you like to think that the Celtics will be able to handle it when they take the court tomorrow at the Garden before continuing the series later this week out in Indianapolis. Any other real Celtics news?
I don't think anything really.
Well, it's weird because end of the regular season we were like, okay, we're just waiting for the playoffs, but now it still feels like we're waiting for the playoffs.
Well, we only have one game too. Like with the Bruins, we have 3 games to unpack. The Celtics, we only have 1.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's tough.
It doesn't feel like the playoffs just because the Pacers aren't like the kind of playoff team that it feels like we've come up against in previous years.
Yeah,
because that Bucks series last year, that was a legit series because that's a good Bucks team. Obviously, they are the way they've played this year. This Pacers team kind of feels like they limped their way in for sure, and they're not a real competitor.
Also,
To me, at least.
Also, not like it might be our excitement as fans, because I think we're just kind of waiting to be disappointed, as we have all year long.
Psychological analysis.
Well, I mean, we were talking about it with Ethan last week. We weren't really excited at all for the playoffs, and we were like, pulling it together means this team gets to the conference finals, because that was the expectation. So, I mean, I think we're expecting to be disappointed.
Deep.
I don't know. I'm just trying to because it doesn't seem exciting, and it's probably just because of how the season went.
Yeah. Alrighty. I mean, that's a good point. So we'll be back next week, cover more Celtics, and we will have more to unpack then. So that's good. But moving right along, we've got your Boston Red Sox, who have just wrapped up their first homestand of the season.
First casualty of the season.
Yeah, so we'll get to that in a second. Good little teaser there, Patrick. Nicely done. But the Sox split the homestand 3 wins, 3 losses between 2 games against Toronto and 4 against the Baltimore Orioles. And they got their first win streak of the season, Patrick. 2 games between Thursday the 11th and Friday the 12th. How about that? How about your Red Sox, Patrick?
I mean, Thursday showed what this team can do.
Yeah.
Thursday the 11th, that comeback against the Orioles, overcoming 5-0 and 6-5.
That's right. We were there.
We were there. We got replica rings. Those were sick.
Those were really cool, actually.
Those were so cool.
They weren't just plastic. They were, kind of heavy.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be some just plastic thing you can get in a vending machine or something. And
Replica World Series?
Here you go. Your hand just drops to the floor when you put it on. You're like, holy crap, this thing's heavy.
You have weak hands.
It's a joke.
Yes, I know.
But, I mean, come on, folks. They lost they lost the series to the Orioles. And sure,
They tied it.
Really?
2 wins, 2 losses.
Oh, I didn't realize it was 4 games.
Yeah.
But, here we go again with but. Come on, man.
Come on, man.
I mean, it's the Orioles. They have a better record than you, but they're tabbed as being the worst team in baseball coming into this year.
Right. And Chris Davis was a laughingstock.
Yeah,
and
Chris,
he
decided to go off against you this series.
Yeah, was it third game the second game of the series on Saturday, went off for 3 RBIs and then hit a homer the next night.
Hit a home
Monday
yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, Marathon Monday game.
Hit a shot.
Oh boy, your pitching can't get out of its own way, which is sad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, we applauded Hector Velasquez last week about giving them the only quality start so far. And here he is, Hector Velasquez, yesterday, just laying an egg.
Right. Well, yeah, didn't have much offense to support him, but
yeah.
I think you have to look back, though, early last week, and I think that's the really only optimism that you can get from this team, because you had that 7-6 win over the Jays when we were there, and the Jays got out to that early lead, but the Sox kind of rallied and chipped away at it, and eventually got back in position. Then just to give up, that close game again, but then you come back again in the 9th inning. And you get that walk-off from Rafael Devers, the ugliest walk-off you'll ever see, by the way. Chopper that bounced over the infield who were playing in. That's hilarious.
Yep.
But a win's a win. And that was that's the Red Sox that we know, because you can rely on the bats when you need them. You're going to get, I can't say quality relieving because they gave up that tie game, but you're going to get the pitching when you really need it. And
Are you going to get the starting pitching, though?
It doesn't seem like it this season.
You haven't so far.
Exactly.
Evaldi got shelled on Thursday.
Right, so that's a scary thing. Not shelled. He pitched okay.
He gave up the 5 spot.
Right, well, those 2 big home runs, not helpful. But yeah, 5 is
2
fine.
bombs.
True.
One was the longest ever recorded at Fenway Park.
What? Oh, really? The
yeah.
Renato Nunez guy?
Or wasn't it Rudy Tellez?
No.
Yeah.
That was the one down the right field line.
Yeah.
That could not have been the longest home run.
Yeah, it was.
What about the Ted Williams seat that's 2/3 the way up the grandstands?
StatCast clocked it at 5:05.
What?
Because the corner where it went out is 320.
Yeah.
And we saw it drop about 15, 20 rows back.
Right.
So that's 400 probably.
Okay.
But what we didn't notice, because we were under the overhang at the grandstand, it nailed the 4 on the retired numbers. So had it kept going, StatCast had it at 5:05.
What?
Yeah. It nailed the 4
Did it really?
on the retired numbers.
What a shot.
Yeah, I told you.
Okay, we were on the opposite side of the stadium. Wow.
No. It wasn't when we were in the under the Coke sign yet. It was when we were under the grandstand watching the Bruins at the counter.
Oh.
Oh. Because I said, as soon as it left his bat, I said, "See ya, ball," and it was because it was a shot. I was like, "That's gone," but here we are. We have the Blue Jays TV guy or radio guy, whoever it was. He's like, "Does it have enough?"
Yeah.
It was like, of course it has enough. Even if it didn't nail the 4, it would landed 20 rows back.
That's right. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. So I mean, you did get a decent start though. As we get back to the pitching, the next night, Eduardo Rodriguez went like 5 1/3 hitless, or perfect game, 5 1/3. So there you go. There's something.
Flashes.
But then of course you give up 9 runs on Saturday. You give up 8 runs on Monday. You got a shutout from David Price. What did he throw? 8 innings, 7 innings on Sunday.
Oh,
it feels like
about David Price.
What?
Keep going. I'll find the stat.
Well, regardless, it feels like you're like on the edge there because you're not losing 4 games in a row like you did between the Seattle and Oakland series. Like you're not getting slapped every single day, but it just feels like still inconsistent. You're getting a great game. Like this looks like the 2018 Red Sox, and then you get just like, okay, who brought the Paw Sox here? Like it feels like you're right there where maybe if you start getting things going a little bit, you're going to become the same team you were. It's an improvement from the way they started, but it's still not where we want them to be.
Absolutely not.
Right. You have your stat?
I don't yet.
Dang it. Well, I have a thought for you. So the Sox tonight begin a 2-game set in New York at the New York Yankees. That wasn't terrible. My impressions on the air are usually terrible. That was decent.
Water.
Yeah, okay. But so yeah, they start 2 games against the Yankees, who are right next to you. That's decent.
I have the stat.
They're fine.
No, keep going.
I was just gonna say you got 2 games here against the Yankees, who are kind of right with you in the playoffs. Disappointingly mediocre. And then you got 3 games against Tampa Bay, who, oh by the way, have only lost 4 games this season. So you got 5 games here that could very well determine quite a bit of your season. And they always say April baseball is pointless. Like, no, you need these games.
6.5 back could very well be 11.5 back.
It's a scary thought. 6.5 is a lot. That's more than 2 series.
Yeah.
You need these wins.
Absolutely.
And they're both on the road. You don't get a ton of rest between them. Ooh, nervous. Yeesh. What's your stat?
Highest win percentage at Fenway Park. Ready?
Out of any player?
Out of Red Sox players, I believe.
Oh.
I believe. I'm not completely sure.
David Price?
Highest win percentage at Fenway Park.
Yes.
Number 5, Pedro Martinez.
Oh, is this all time?
Yes.
Okay. Babe Ruth.
Minimum 20 starts.
Okay.
Pedro Martinez, 753, or .753. Record of 58-19.
Louis Tiant.
4, Lefty Grove.
Oh.
.763. Record of 71-22. Tex Houston at number 3.
Wow.
.781. 57-16 is that record. Number 2, David Price.
Wow.
788, 26-7. And number 1, Smokey Joe Wood, 867, 39-6.
Where's El Diante? Anyway, that's pretty good for
David Price.
He's been sneaky good. It's just the way he's off the field.
I've told you. I've said this for every single year.
I've never doubted it.
He hasn't been that bad. It was the bad start his first year, and then he got it together in the second half.
Right.
He was completely solid his second year. And then it was last year. It was the bad start again, the whole circus with Eckersley in the fortnight.
Right. Well, he likes playing the villain role.
Yeah.
And that's what triggers Red Sox fans.
And then he was lights out after the All-Star break and through the playoffs.
Yep.
I'm telling you,
he likes to keep
that bad.
No, he's not that bad at all. I'm glad he's sticking around.
Yeah.
When he said, like, okay, I'm coming back for the extension because he wasn't going to get any more money anywhere else.
He's been your best pitcher this season.
Yeah. Which is a scary thought, considering he's hasn't been incredible, but he did have a very good outing on Sunday. Probably your best outing by a starter yet, which is encouraging. But yeah, going back to the road ahead here for the Sox, you need these games. There's no 2 ways about it. You need I would say you got to come out with at least 3 wins here out of these 5 games.
You have to.
Yeah. So we'll see if they're able to do it. It's an early test for the team. And I don't think they anticipated coming into this stretch. They probably knew this wasn't going to be easy, these 5 games against the only 2 other real contenders in the AL East. But they probably didn't expect to be coming into it with the struggles that they have had early in the season. And, of course, it doesn't become any easier looking at the injuries that they're dealing with because you had Christian Vasquez playing second base yesterday and Steve Pearce out and left. It was a mess.
It was.
Why Dustin Pedroia couldn't go out and play second? He had a DH? I don't know. Hopefully he's back at second tonight. Actually, I saw that there was a lineup somewhere. I don't know. Hopefully he's back and we have an actual normal roster to head into Yankee Stadium, of all places. But yeah, it just seems like the worst possible time to be having injury troubles, but it's just the perfect storm for the Sox right now, and nothing seems to be going their way.
Yeah, a couple of casualties today.
Right, so there you go. Go ahead.
So it was the relief pitcher Walden first announced.
Meh.
He's been okay.
Meh.
I thought he was pretty good.
I thought he looked like Joe Kelly 2.0, and it wasn't just the goggles.
Well, I thought he looked pretty good the 2 games he pitched when I was there. Aside from yesterday, he kind of got shelled yesterday.
Right.
He started off fine, but
Have you been to 3 games this season?
2.
Oh yeah, right. Okay.
But the big casualty today, Blake Swihart has been designated for assignment. He's effectively gone, presuming he won't pass waivers.
I don't call it a casualty
Why?
because you've tried everything with this guy. I know you screwed him over early in his career when you were like, you don't need to catch. We have catchers. Go play left. And then he got hurt, and then he just wasn't the same after. But I feel like you've tried so hard to get it to pan out, and it's just not happening, and you can't really try much more.
Is it not happening with Swihart, or do we look back to the Red Sox? Because I texted you this earlier. I can't think of any prospect who was single-handedly mishandled the way the Red Sox mishandled Blake Swihart.
Yeah, and I'm not denying that.
It was a big cluster F.
Yeah.
What
You're not going to say it this show?
I can't.
You did
Or I
last
can,
show.
but I guess we don't want to.
I know.
Has a prospect been single-handedly ruined that badly by the organization's misuse of him?
I don't know. It was bad. But
he was the top catching prospect in baseball at one point.
Yeah.
2015 first-round pick. Like that doesn't just fall off a cliff unless it's a historic bust. We've seen flashes of it.
Yep. And hilariously, he's now being ignored in favor of a career journeyman, Sandy Leone.
Yeah, and Swihart wasn't even that bad to start the year. He was hitting like 288, 300.
The catching wasn't great. And you have to wonder the play calling a little bit, or not play calling, the
Pitch calling.
Pitch calling, thank you. Behind the plate, is that part of the reason that your pitcher's getting shelled? I don't know.
Well, we kind of knew that. We knew he was a work in progress defensively right off the top of the draft.
Right.
And who knows how much they did to really address it. They were like, all right, you're going to play left field because you can't catch. Okay, you're going to play right first base because you can't catch.
Mm-hmm. Send him to Pawtucket. Figure it out.
Up and down, moving positions.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't help, and then he gets hurt.
Yeah.
And he can't stay healthy. Like, come on.
I think there's definitely a lot to criticize with the way that the Sox treated him while he was here. And I do think it derailed his career in some ways, but I feel like at this point, if you're the Sox, it's a lost cause. And there's no point trying to recover something that you can't really fix anymore. So maybe some man's trash is another man's treasure, as they say. Maybe he'll go out to like San Francisco and have a rebirth and become the prospect that people thought he was going to be. But it just doesn't seem like that's going to happen in Boston.
But it's also, you knew he wasn't that great defensively, so you're like, all right, we have Vasquez. Vasquez is a fantastic defensive catcher. Just can't hit. Normally, yeah.
Can't hit for his life. He's had a few pass balls this season, but yeah.
And then last year, like, all right, fine, Sandy Leone is Chris Sale's personal guy.
Yep.
And it looks like they might be doing that again this year.
Mm-hmm. He's in the lineup tonight.
Yeah. Sale's pitching tonight?
Yep.
Correct, yes. Because they did push his start back. He was supposed to start yesterday. Kind of bitter about that. But
how's that sunburn treating you?
It's not good.
It looks like a lobster, buddy. I'm not going to lie.
We got the aloe vera on it. We were stuck in the bleachers yesterday at Fenway.
It was a nice day. Marathon
the
Monday
sun
had the short
out,
sleeves.
yeah.
And ooh, boy.
It was shorts weather. It's shorts weather right now. I'm in shorts.
Nice.
But like we knew he couldn't catch in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't think he could catch in 2018 either. So why are we going to try and force him to catch in 2019? Like give the guy some concrete direction and don't pretend it's like the square peg into the round hole.
Several times.
Yeah. And it's even if all right, fine, like we draft him, we know he's a defensive work in progress. So work with him.
Yeah.
It comes down to coaching.
All right. So you're looking like retrospectively now.
Yeah.
You're saying that they should have done this. It's
all,
nothing they can do now.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Of course.
Especially when you look at how mishandled he was.
Right. So.
You had this elite offensive talent. Poof, gone.
Yeah. Well, too bad for the player, obviously. And you got to think that the Sox kind of missed out on a pretty promising prospect.
Yeah.
But you look at the team right now, and it does seem like Sandy Leone is the guy. You get someone who's experienced there, someone who's a good pitch caller, who has a relationship already with some people on your staff. And you think that this is going to be the best thing for the team.
And like, I'm not trying to, like, hype Swihart up more than anything he was.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying what he could have been. And he's always a guy I wanted to see do well.
Mm-hmm.
So you're just really bummed to see this end like this.
Definitely. So, unrestricted, well, what is it, UFA? DFA?
Probably.
What was it?
Or DFA, designated for assignment.
Yeah.
And that's waivers, and they don't think he'll clear waivers, so he's done.
Right. So, too bad, but that's the
Or
that's
he's
the
done
big
here.
that's the big news of the day for the Sox. Really, hopefully, the bigger news will be them getting a convincing win over the New York Yankees, and everything will be just peachy. It takes a real optimist to believe that, but we'll see. And so, moving along to the New England Patriots now. We've got a few different points here, and believe it or not, Patrick, sound the alarms. We've got some moves. The Patriots have brought in Austin Seferian-Jenkins. That's the name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good. So a tight end replacement after you lost both Dwayne Allen and Rob Gronkowski. Had to see it coming, but I think you got to feel pretty good about the guy that you got. Do you know much about him?
No, I do. He had that explosive year 2 years ago. Then
Right.
he hasn't been able to stay healthy since, and he's shown flashes. And I think if he's able to stay marginally healthy with Brady throwing to him, I think it'll be solid. I don't think he'll be amazing, but I think it has the potential to work out.
Right. And I think he's the kind of pass catcher kind of tight end. He's not going to be
he's big.
Dwayne Allen. Thank God. I think he's going to be closer to Martellus Bennett,
Hopefully.
where Bennett wasn't really the best run blocker, but he could catch a pass when you needed him to. I feel like that's what Seferian-Jenkins is going to be. And it's only a 1-year deal, so it's kind of a, see what happens. If it works, awesome. If not, you don't have too much invested. But I think, you had to get someone, and I think you got to be happy that it's this guy.
Yeah.
So that's good. And then they also had 2 other interesting names in the door, not, signed to deals just yet, but kind of, checking out the area or whatever. And, prospective signings with Demaryius Thomas, the former Bronco and former Texan. Wasn't he coming off a big injury now, right?
Achilles.
Yeah, Achilles.
Torn Achilles.
That's always a little scary. And he was always kind of a fragile guy, I feel like. So, got to wonder about that one. But once again, that is a receiver, and you need some at this point. And then, of course, T.J. Yeldon, a running back with the Jaguars, could be another former Jaguar like Seferian-Jenkins that's coming in. And a guy that has also shown ability both running and passing, which we know that the Pats love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, T.J. Yeldon, I saw that it's kind of redundant between him and James White.
Mm-hmm.
But whether or not, because we see them all the time line wide up behind Brady, and he just shoots out into the slot.
Yeah.
So maybe they line up Yeldon out wide barring he signs.
Interesting.
So maybe they use him more in a out wide role.
I like it.
But I would love. I'm obviously remembering the Demaryius Thomas of a few years ago, but I would love nothing more for a guy of his stat. Oh, Sean Crowley alert, by the way. He was on the ice this morning.
Was?
Yes.
Yes.
Um,
Reported by Matt Castle.
But yes,
Hey.
I just saw that tweet now. Thanks, Twitter.
Cool.
Falling into the same trap as Instagram. No chronology there.
Sheesh.
But
No one's safe.
I mean, the only concern with me with Thomas is the health, because
Right.
at his age, and with that type of injury, that's nothing small to come back from.
Yeah, and you know that a guy with the career that he has had is going to be looking for a pretty good deal. He was a number 1 wide receiver out there in Denver for quite some time, so you think he's not just going to be here on a flyer, just say we got to rebuild a career here. You think that he's actually going to be trying to plant some roots, shall we say, and find a real destination. So definitely the talent is there. Is it still the same player that we kind of remember him as from the good old Tim Tebow days?
Probably not.
Probably not. But
Yeah.
at this point, really anything that the Patriots bring in would be a good thing,
Anything
because
for that.
they're losing wide receivers by the day. Chris Hogan has signed with the Carolina Panthers. I believe that's just a 1-year deal, so who knows? Maybe he'll be in the conversation to come back at some point. But yes, another pass catcher who you relied on at times, especially in that game against the Chiefs, the AFC Championship. But he's gone too.
Good for you, Chris. Go get your money.
This is exactly like Danny Amendola.
Yeah.
He was not as
Well,
far
except
into
Hogan was 3 years into his career. Amendola was 10.
Right. So he wasn't as far into the Brady circle, but he was a trusted target. And now he had to go get his money because the Pats won't pay him.
Yeah.
So that's another loss. Not the biggest loss that we've had this offseason, but it's a loss nonetheless. And at a position that you were already.
Where it's a barren wasteland.
That's exactly right. So that's not too great. But they did bring someone back, the kicker, Steven Gostowski. back for 2 more years. How do you feel about it?
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
No qualms. No. Oh my God, Steven Gostkowski's back. It's fine.
It's
Solid kicker, top 5 kicker.
Misses a kick every single Super Bowl.
Well, it's fine because they still win.
Not every time.
Whatever.
But yeah. No, he's
Whatever.
a solid kicker.
He goes from lights out to just above, or not even just above league average, and now all of a sudden everyone's up in arms.
Right.
Like, sorry, the league average also fell too. Justin Tucker fell too.
Yeah.
It's not just Gostkowski.
Yep, he knows the system. Him and Allen seem to work well together. It's not often that you see them have a totally botched snap or anything, botched timing. So whatever, it's the kicker. So 2 years, $8.5 million. How long? Just out of curiosity, how long do you think he's been here? What year do you think he signed?
Wasn't it 04?
06. That's a long time.
Yeah, he replaced Vinatieri.
Is he the longest tenured Patriot aside from Brady?
Probably.
Yeah.
He has to be.
Him or Slater?
No, Slater hasn't been around since
Really?
06.
I don't know. Feels like he's been around forever. Interesting. 06 seems so early. But regardless, he's back.
Matthew Slater was at 5th round in 2008.
Yep. Okay. And a couple other little notes, too, about the big two there. Bill Belichick, Tom Brady. Belichick, 67 years old, which brings up the question, will he coach until his 70th birthday?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What's today, 68?
67.
67?
Yep.
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah.
I feel like he's the kind of guy that, will have to keep football in his life in some capacity.
Yeah.
Well,
no
whether
way.
it's on the sidelines or maybe transitioning to a front office role like Tom Coughlin, but I feel like he'll be involved. Ooh, what are we looking at?
Nothing, just if you bet against the Red Sox, if you bet $100 against the Red Sox in every game this season, you've already made $1.3K.
Oh.
Solid.
Interesting. Okay. How about your betting odds there?
I just thought that was
betting
interesting.
minute on the Beantown Banter podcast. Anyway, and then one more thing. Tom Brady's helmet that he held onto for so long is not going to be usable next year. It has been ruled out by the NFL because of concussion policies. So you're going to see Tom Brady sporting a new helmet. We saw it a little bit this past season before he transitioned to the old helmet down the stretch. You think that makes any difference or not really?
No, that's a helmet.
No? So you don't – I think we talked about this, but
Well,
you
he
don't put
was-
any stock into him, devoting he's going to go right to the old helmet down the stretch this past season? You don't see he was a little bit uncomfortable in the other one. He wanted to play his best, so he put on the old helmet?
Well, he's going to have to deal with it this
Yeah,
year.
he's
And
gonna-
I think if a helmet is what derails Tom Brady,
That's a good
it's
point.
not good.
That's a good point.
Actually, if we're moving on to the Patriots soon, I have a couple final Swihart thoughts.
Oh, okay.
I just forgot them in my
Go ahead.
sadness
We'll
for Blake.
retreat a little bit here to the Red Sox, and then we'll finish off with some national news.
So one,
Yeah.
why don't we look to trade him?
Well, isn't
And-
that what DFA means? They're going to try
No.
to trade him?
No, designated for assignment, it's just waivers.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought it means you're going to try to trade him.
Waivers.
Oops.
So he's done with the Red Sox.
Okay.
And we have Dave Dabrowski being adamant today at the presser that the market wasn't better for Swihart last season, which I find hard to believe. Even 2 years ago when we were talking about trading him, I find that hard to believe.
Huh.
And who was it? Evan Drellick had the tweet that I completely agree with, where this move today with Swihart is reactionary,
Yep.
short-sighted,
Yep.
and with no regard for the bigger picture.
Yep.
Just poor management.
All right, I'm watching that Rowdy Tellez homer. Oh, my Lanta.
Yeah, right?
It's a
Bomb.
rocket. Okay. So this year finishing off on the Swihart news.
Yeah, and if Heath Hembry and Tyler Thornburg are still here, and Blake Swihart's gone, come on.
Sheesh.
Lacks vision and sense of the big picture. That's the quote.
Alrighty. Well, let's move on to some national stuff, shall we? We had 2 national championships for collegiate athletics since our last show. We had the Final Four finishing up with Virginia taking the D1 men's basketball title from 0 to hero after falling to was it UMBC, whatever that is, the 16 seed in the 2018 tournament. Came back 2019, won it all. How about them Cavs?
I mean, good for them, and it lived up to the cliche I said on the show where I just wanted it to be a good game. It was a great game.
It was a good game. Overtime, right?
Yeah, overtime.
Yeah.
Great game.
And Patrick
The over-
Mahomes lost. So
yeah, the
we love
overtime.
it.
The overtime was actually kind of a snooze fest, actually. But
It was.
other than that, great game.
Yep. Any game that Patrick Mahomes ups up on the wrong end of, I'm happy.
You really don't like Mahomes just for no
really
reason.
don't. No, there's a reason.
What's the reason?
He's too flashy, too cocky.
How?
I don't like it. He just.
What has he done? Is it the fancy throws?
Yes, his first year as a starter.
They're
he's
so
throwing it.
cool.
Oh, it's so cool. I love it. Oh. Wait till it's a pick six on the in the red zone, and he's
You're
trying
what's
to,
wrong with sports.
No, I'm a traditionalist. What can I say? You are too in some ways.
Come on, Don Cherry, Mike Milbury. Give me a break. How am I?
saying.
How am I?
I'll have to think about that one.
Okay.
You like your classics sometimes.
I do like my classics. There's a place for them.
Yeah.
But
There's a balance.
I think
You don't like video replay, right?
no, I do. I just think if we're gonna have it, we got to do it right, which the NHL does not at all.
Okay, good. Whatever. Yeah,
And the NCAA. The NCAA shoots itself in the foot,
definitely.
especially with hockey.
And basketball, too.
Yeah.
All right. Speaking of NCAA hockey, thank you very much.
Great segue.
Yeah, great segue. Minnesota State claimed their second consecutive Frozen Four championship.
Minnesota Duluth.
Oops. Those are two different teams.
Yes,
That's awkward.
it is. University of Minnesota versus
Yeah.
Minnesota Duluth.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right.
Minnesota Duluth with their second.
Minnesota State was
Yeah,
the Mavericks or whatever it is.
whatever.
Got bounced
Gophers?
first round.
Where are the Gophers?
That was just Minnesota.
Is that Minnesota State?
No, it's just
Minnesota-
University of Minnesota.
There are two of them?
There's Minnesota State. There's University of Minnesota. I believe. I know there's.
What? I thought they were the same team. They have the same
Minnesota
colors, don't
Duluth
they?
is the Bulldogs.
All right. You talk about
Yeah, it is. It's University of Minnesota, and then
Oh,
it's like University of
God.
Minnesota Duluth. It's like UMass Amherst Lowell.
it is the Minnesota Duluth Bulldogs.
Carson Kuhlman captained them to a championship last year. Won national championship MVP, or tournament MVP.
Alrighty.
He was not
Deep
invisible
in
in that
Google.
tournament, but he is invisible in this tournament.
Minnesota State hockey is the Mavericks. You're right.
Cale McCarr.
That's
of,
the big
of
news.
UMass.
The big man.
What was the final score of the championship game? 4-2, 4-1, 3-2,
Oh.
3-1. I was at the Bruins. You
I'm
were watching.
Googling quickly.
Oh, you had it for me. But UMass, that power play just couldn't capitalize. Could not just. We saw it through this entire Frozen Four. UMass just laying waste to teams on the power play, whether it's the one-timer from Makar, and admittedly, Makar doesn't have a great one-timer. It's just the puck movement on that power play is so good. Mark Del Gaizo has been
What a name, by the way.
insane.
Freshman.
Yeah, they're gonna be so. They're just getting better. They're losing Makar, but they got the depth.
The final was 3-0.
Final was 3-0.
Yeah.
So
your number one power play unit couldn't get anything going against Minnesota Duluth.
Minnesota Duluth just choked the life out of UMass.
But you know what?
It's the game plan.
You talked about Cale McCarr there for a second. The kid just can't lose. Loses the national championship, but oh, by the way, he won the Hobie Baker Award for the best player in all of college hockey, and now is in Colorado scoring for the Avalanche.
Mm-hmm.
The kid just does whatever he wants, wherever he wants, whenever he wants.
Yeah. He was eating in a dining hall last week. He was in college like 2 days ago.
He was in class.
Yeah. And
Just
now
doing
he's
some
scoring
chemistry.
goals in the NHL.
That's right.
Scoring goals in his first game, quarterbacking the second power play unit.
Which is nuts. He got there that morning.
They bounced Samuel
Yeah.
Girard off that line.
Yeah,
He's been fantastic this year as a second-year
Yeah,
player.
He showed up to the morning skate and just started quarterbacking the second power play unit. What?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And have the confidence to jump in the rush like he did last night
Yeah,
and
well,
score that goal.
So he's a great talent coming off of a great season. So it makes sense that the Avalanche are going to use it in every way that they can. But just to see it pan out so quickly,
Oh, he's going to have a
nuts.
great career. He could have played this year.
you could have.
He could have played. He could have been a top 4 defenseman this year.
Definitely think that sticking with UMass, though, it probably helped his career.
Yeah.
Because he dominated.
Maybe not top 4 at the start of the year, but he definitely could have by this time ended up in being a top 4 with the experience.
Crazy.
He could have played this year.
Yeah. But we do have to close out the show. Actually, we're gonna save that. Okay.
What are we saying?
We got big national news, Patrick. You're wearing the shirt after all. Don't say it now. That's a teaser. Other national news. How about your Tampa Bay Lightning? Oh no.
Oh, Charmin soft.
You said that earlier.
I know. I said this earlier, but Tampa Bay is Charmin soft. So Columbus, Tampa goes up 3-0 in game 1.
Correct.
Columbus,
First period. Boom, 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 boom.
Columbus scores 1, and all of a sudden Tampa Bay folds. And 4 unanswered from Columbus. 2 incredible goals. One from David Savard going in and out,
Yep.
and just chipping it past Vasilevsky.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had an absolute rocket from the slot from Seth Jones to win the game.
Okay.
Underdog Norris Trophy contender the last 2 years.
Right. We don't need the whole play-by-play, but just your thoughts on the series, what's happening.
It's just Tampa. I mean, it's so cliche to say, and I will sound old and archaic, even though I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I will sound that way saying this, where this is the product of Tampa Bay facing no adversity in the regular season, where they were just on cruise control the entire time. They knew they were the best, and they were like, get us to April.
Yep.
From day one.
You might be seeing that with the Golden State Warriors, too, by the way.
Warriors have been there, done that. I'm confident they'll come back.
True. Okay.
But the Tampa Bay Lightning they've choked every single year. It's been the playoff adversity.
Yeah.
And so this year, they're the best team, far and away. They're like, all right, we're in the cup final. Just pencil us in there. Maybe even pen us in there, in the ink. And they faced no adversity at all. They never lost 3 in a row in the regular season.
And you're going to get swept.
In the first sign of adversity in the playoffs, they fold like a house of cards.
It's a good analogy.
It is. Just crumbled.
Yeah.
So,
like a crumb cake.
Like, Game 2 was fantastic for anyone who loves chaos.
Yeah.
Like Nikita Kucherov, what a dumb penalty. That's like Nazem Kadri's last year.
We didn't even mention Kadri and Bruins.
We didn't mention Kadri.
Okay.
But
let's take it back for a second.
But hold on.
Kadri, see you later.
Yeah.
Jake DeBrusk got the better of that one, and Kadri's gone for the series. You dirty player, Kadri.
What a clown. What a clown he is.
All right, back to Kucherov.
We can talk about it more after the series or Kadri specifically.
Yeah.
When we're wrapping up, whether it's in favor or not.
Yeah.
But here we are with Nikita Kucherov.
Okay.
And I already mentioned the hit. So he loses one game. He down one game, and they lose in big time in Columbus, 5-1, to go down 3-0. And in Game 2, Victor Hedman's so rattled, he's chirping with Riley Nash that, oh, you guys are up 2-0 to Washington. Look what happened last year. Riley Nash wasn't even on the team last year. Why are you saying that to Riley Nash? Come on. They crumbled, and they just got so rattled. And you got to – I think Andrei Vasilevsky's in the pipes tonight. But at John Cooper, at what point do you look to Louis Domingue?
Oh, my gosh.
Because I understand – this is like the Raskalak argument. Yeah. I understand you're going to stick with your one because he's shown we know what he can do. We know what he's capable of. All he needs is the confidence and one save. But
you can't get one.
You're desperate.
Yeah.
And Louis Domingue was so good this season. You got to try. You got to try something. And if Columbus scores early tonight, it's over.
Yeah. In that building,
it's
too.
It's over.
They had to put out a security announcement on Twitter.
Not to bring brooms.
Don't bring brooms to Columbus. That's nuts.
I love the confidence.
A crazy crumble from the
this is historic.
Lightning. Well, who knows? Maybe the Lightning turn it on. They finally got their backs against the wall, and then pressure makes diamonds. Who knows?
If they get swept, it's a historic collapse.
Yeah, you got to feel good, though. If you're the Bruins or the Leafs and you're looking ahead and you're like, oh, yeah. You get through this series and you got Columbus.
If you're the Bruins and the Leafs and say you make it to the Eastern Conference Finals and you don't have to face Washington, you're winning the cup.
Wow. And let's not forget, though, Columbus could be one of the strongest 8 seeds ever.
Yes. I did say look out if Columbus gets it together.
And they may be.
And because there's the sheer talent, it's impossible to count them out.
Right.
So then again, if whoever gets out of the series can't really look past Columbus either. Well, I'll take that back.
Crazy.
I'll take that back.
But it's definitely a better matchup than the Lightning.
Definitely a better road.
Yeah. So we've covered all these stories, tons of stories this week, but there was one story better than the rest. One of the best stories in sports history, quite frankly. Tiger Woods won the Masters. Patrick, take it away.
So, Tiger Woods is your 2019 Masters champion.
Nuts.
I got a smile on my face just talking about it.
He's got that T-shirt on. It says Tiger. It's got a goat in the shape of the Masters logo with a flag.
Masters logo. They shaped it into a goat.
Incredible.
The same font. Says Tiger.
When was that from?
This
shirt.
The shirt. It's the one I ordered last week.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Came today.
That panned out well.
It did.
Oh man.
But if you haven't already, I got the article up on WTBUsports.com.
Jeez.
Go check it out.
It's
Quick
a good
plug.
article.
It's a work of art, if I may say.
1,500 words of pure.
Yeah, it's like 1,500 words. You're not gonna regret it. It's called Tiger Woods wins 2019 Masters, solidifies GOAT status.
Interesting.
But yeah, the round was a roller coaster of emotions.
Sunday, crazy.
So
exactly what the PGA needed, by the way.
Yeah, this is that might be the highest rated sports event of the year.
Wow.
It could be.
Especially with the dud that the Super Bowl was?
For sure so far. It's got to be.
Hmm.
He is the needle. I'll keep saying that.
Yep.
But so first 2 rounds, Thursday, Friday, ho-hum, front 9, only for him to go on a birdie train in the afternoon, or the back 9. And then Saturday, the fireworks come out, putting him firmly in the mix. He shoots a 7 under 65.
Yep.
And he's in the mix. He's 2 shots back of leader Francesco Molinari going into the final round on Sunday. Inclement weather makes them go from pairs to groups of 3, and they move all the times up to the morning, which is kind of perfect because you don't have to anticipate all morning. You just wake up and you watch Tiger Woods.
Wake up at 3:15 a.m. if you're Tiger, which is insane.
Yeah.
Got to do what you got to do.
So
win the green jacket.
So we come to Sunday morning, and Tiger Woods 2 back. But, and we go for kind of a solid, another ho-hum front 9, where Tiger gets a shot back on Molinari, gives the shot away. Molinari's just a robot, doing a motionless robot, doesn't get rattled, just making insane par after insane par, just saving them. Tony Finau staying in the mix despite spraying the ball this way and that all over the course. And we got a bunch of guys at 11, 10 under. Leaderboard was packed.
Yeah.
We get to the 12th hole. Francesco Molinari takes an aggressive line at the pin.
Bloop.
He's in the drink.
Mm-hmm.
Tony Finau, same line, in the drink.
Bloop.
And Tiger Woods plays it safe, right in the middle of the green.
Ice in his veins. That was the turning point.
Yeah, that was the TSN turning point.
Okay.
Francesco, 2 putts for double. Tiger, 2 putts for par. And we got a tied ball game.
Yeah.
And so Tiger takes that momentum.
Pulls away.
He birdies 13 to take the 1-shot lead. He pars 14, maintains the lead.
And then Molinari goes swimming
on 15,
again.
Francesco puts it in the drink
Not
again.
even close.
And another double boat. He chunked it.
Chunked it into a tree branch and then splash.
I hate to be Johnny Miller and put everything to nerves, but that was complete nerves for Molinari. Because when you chunk a ball like that, that's because you decelerated your downswing, and that's because you had second thoughts.
You would know.
Yeah.
Big nerves on the golf team back in high school.
I wasn't the greatest under pressure. I'll be the first to admit.
Okay.
Played the best golf of my life last summer when there was no stakes on the line.
Nice.
Yeah.
Didn't ask, but okay.
I'm just saying, but or if it wasn't even nerves, it was just he just gave a second thought.
Yeah.
So second thought can be without nerves.
Right. Well, you got Tiger Woods sitting there behind you.
You got the footsteps.
He's not messing up. So
you got the killer whale out there.
That's what you call him?
No, I just said it right now. It's the killer instinct. I don't know why I said killer whale. But Tiger was tracking down the prey. He was on the prowl.
Yep.
So Tiger birdies 15 again, opens up a 2-shot lead. He goes to the 16th tee. Nearly cans it.
Yeah.
The crowd would have lost it. We had every Sunday at the Masters, they were like, and we go to 16. You got Furr and Lundqvist there, and Justin Thomas for this. And JT hits a shot, cans it, or Bryson DeChambeau. Those were the 2 hole-in-ones. 16's hole-in-one central. 16 and 12, mainly 16, really.
Mm-hmm.
But almost canned it. Left himself like a foot and a half for birdie. And he opens up the 2-shot lead.
And it was over.
Opens up 3-shot lead on Francesco. It was a 2-shot lead on Brooks. And Brooks Koepka had to deal with the circus crowd, was going to be in the clubhouse before, was not a threat.
Yep.
Missed a birdie putt on 18 to cut it to 1.
Didn't matter.
The Tiger effect.
Tiger bogeys 18, didn't matter.
Tiger bogeys 18. Doesn't really matter. Loses me some money, but it's more than fine.
That's right.
Crazy. And he's a Masters champion.
And that's history. That's 5 Masters for him.
That's 5. Second most all time. First in 14 years.
Crazy.
First in major in 11 years. And first major in 3,954 days.
All right. So he has the most wins in history, right?
He is 1 away from tying the most wins in history.
And
which he's going to beat.
3 away from the most major wins?
3 away from tying Jack's record.
Is he going to get that?
I think breaking Sam Snead's win record is more of a sure thing.
Yeah.
Just 2 wins. He's going to get that.
Yeah.
But
get him in Hawaii. Who knows?
He's 43.
Yeah.
So the clock's ticking on the majors.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this year serves him if he can get, 1 more this year. I think so.
Yeah.
Because, he's won at Bethpage Black, which the PGA is going to be in a month. He's now the favorite for the PGA.
Crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
He's now the favorite for the PGA. He's won at Bethpage before. He's won at Pebble before. And Royal Port Rush, like I said on a couple shows ago, is just one of those classic open venues that the big-time players are going to be able to excel at.
Yeah.
So, I mean, watch out.
Yeah, watch out.
You never know.
I mean, and he talked about it in his kind of post-round interview, I guess. He said, like, he had to learn how to kind of play his golf game again. He knew that his hands were still good because that doesn't really change too much with age, but he couldn't, pound the ball as much as he could when he was younger. So it feels like he's learning how to play golf in older age, and that's a danger to the rest of the field.
Yeah, so so we'll just go through it. Like, we have the personal scandal, very public divorce.
Yeah.
We have the DUI, very public DUI. And then we have, before the DUI, we had the bad back, and which is what led to the DUI. He was hopped up on painkillers.
Literally everything was against him.
A rock star's cocktail of painkillers. And
what?
All of a sudden, it looks like he tells Nick Faldo at the 2017 championship dinner he's ready to give up the game. He doesn't think he'll ever play again.
Wow.
And the last-ditch effort, we had the spinal fusion surgery. And he has to wait several months to be able to even pick up a club. And he gets clearance to chip. And slowly builds up a swing, and the swing he reaches, we have former swing coach Hank Haney saying, who's probably one of the most renowned swing coaches on the planet, saying it's a swing he can win with.
And he did.
And he goes through the chipping yips right off the start of the comeback. And then all of a sudden he can't putt. And at the PGA he couldn't drive the golf ball. And then certainly seemed like early on Sunday he couldn't chip or drive. And he overcomes all of it. Everything he got over. Might be the greatest comeback in sports. How many people could do that?
It's true. I know. It's easy to look at the top 4 sports as, like, you could probably find your example in there for the greatest comeback ever, but if you look beyond that, just, like, on an individual level.
The lowest of the low.
Lowest of the low, highest of the high.
On top of the world again.
Yep. Crazy. He went from all the way up in, like, 97 to, 2005, all the way down early 2010s, all the way back up.
From the pro debut in 96 or 97 to 2009, and then the flash again in 2013.
Right.
When he won Player of the Year after winning 5 times. And we get to Sunday, and it's after a culmination of everything that happened last year, because we see it's a swing he can win with. But, I mean, he couldn't drive the ball, and that comes down to he was trying to hit it too hard, which he can't do anymore, because the combination of he's not as flexible because of the surgery, and he's not as young.
Yeah.
So he's just kind of spraying it. So, because we saw early on, he was leading the tour in average club head speed on drives. And so he dials that back in, and he's sacrificing distance on the drives to get into the fairway, which is perfectly fine because he's a fantastic iron player.
It worked.
He's found the mix. He's a completely different golfer and a completely different person.
Yeah. So there's your story of the week. Tiger Woods wins the Masters, saved the best for last, and it'll be
he's the GOAT.
Probably a long time till we see a story as good as that.
He's the GOAT. The argument for the GOAT against the GOAT is that he doesn't have the majors or the wins. Well, he's gonna beat the wins.
Yep.
Who knows about the majors? And how many have transcended a game? How many have been the embodiment of a game for as long or as hard as Tiger Woods was?
That's right.
He won everything there was to win for 11 years.
And to see him
or
hug
12.
his mom and his son after the round.
The son.
Same spot he hugged his dad however many years ago.
It got dusty around here. got dusty. Crazy.
So there you have it, folks. I think we're past the hour mark at this point, but
102.
Yep, it's a jam-packed show as it has been for the last few weeks. So we thank you for sticking with us here. It's been another good week, and we're sure that next week is going to be the same, as we'll be wrapping up these first-round series between the Bruins and Celtics, and, of course, this big week ahead for the Red Sox. Lots of news. Oh, we'll also be doing a Patriots draft preview, because that's coming right up less than 2 weeks. Got to do some research for that.
Yeah, we got to watch some YouTube highlights and come in and talk about guys we think we know about.
Yeah, just to have them completely overlook.
Yes.
But that'll be it. So, as always, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.